Good evening and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas's Wednesday evening service. My name is Reverend Laura Hallett, and it is my pleasure to be the spiritual leader of this wonderful community located here in Southern Nevada. If you happen to be joining us from somewhere else in the world tonight, we are so delighted to have you here with us. It really is quite amazing that this technology we have today allows us to connect in consciousness, no matter how far apart we are. I'd like to start off tonight with a little bit of gratitude, as I usually do. I'd like to thank our beloved community members who are here supporting this service tonight. We have practitioner Justin Vogel sitting high watch for us and holding that space of consciousness and connection for each one of us in his heart. And then we have Melissa Allen providing our musical inspiration tonight. We are so blessed by the musical talent that we have here in our community. And special thanks goes out to our media specialist, Joe Blom, who creates these amazing videos for each service. And I want to thank all of you who are here watching this tonight. You are the reason that we do what we do here at Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. You know, here at Centers for Spiritual Living, our Wednesday night services are designed to take us a little bit deeper into our exploration of the topics and the ideas that we are speaking about each month. Each month we use a different theme based on Center for Spiritual Living's global theme of 2022, which is Living Everyday Wonder. Each month is divided into different aspects of our lives and designed to take us on a journey into understanding each topic a little bit deeper and finding the wonder, the joy, and the awe that is available to us in each one of these areas in our lives. So in January, we looked at life overall. In February, we went inward and looked at our inner life. In March, we looked at the idea of play and how we could find that lighter side of spirituality. And here for April, we are looking at the creative side of spirituality. So our Wednesday evenings this month are an exploration of the creative aspect of spirit and how we experience that in our lives through some of our different spiritual practices and the principles of our philosophy called the science of mind. So for the month of April, we are talking about creativity. Now when I speak of creativity, I don't just mean creating music or art. I'm talking about every aspect of our lives being part of and in the flow of a dynamic divine force that is permeating all of our lives all of the time. We are brought forth into existence through the act of creation. The very thought of us is an act of creation. We existed as an idea long before our grandparents were born. And then this dynamic urge to express itself brought us forth into existence. And this dynamic urge is there to express all life. It is inherent in all life. And we live most fully when we are in the flow of it. When we allow it to express through us, when we allow it, this creative urge to make itself known and to show up in our everyday experiences. That's when we are most alive. You know, our founder, Ernest Holmes, wrote many books, but one of his most popular, and in my opinion, most powerful books, is This Thing Called You. And he begins this great work by talking about the act of creativity. Here are the opening paragraphs of This Thing Called You. You, like all others, are seeking the joy of living. You wish to be needed, to be loved, to be included in the great drama of life. This urge is in every individual. It is in everything. The rose exists to express beauty. Root and branch conspire with nature to give birth to blossom. An artist will starve in his garret that he may chisel an angelic form from a slab of marble, compelling the unyielding substance to accept his breath of creation. Not only human beings, but everything in nature is endowed with this creative urge. When moisture is precipitated in the desert receives it with gladness and breaks forth into a song of creation. Making the most of its brief season, it blossoms into joy, storing within its bosom the seed of a future flowering. It is impossible to escape this creative urge. Everything must find fulfillment or perish. We live so that spirit may express through us. That's why we're here. We are here to be in that creative flow and to allow it to emerge from us. Just like he says with the desert. And for those of us that live here in the desert, we can actually see that happening. When the rains come and the desert itself blossoms in joy. It's an amazing thing. We exist to express creativity. Sounds like it should be easy, doesn't it? If we are birthed through creativity, if creativity is our natural state, if creativity is an impulse that we can't resist, then why are so many of us so hesitant to allow ourselves to enter into the act of creation? Well, I think there's lots of reasons. Some of those are based on hidden beliefs that we hold about ourselves. Beliefs that have come to us through those around us. Beliefs that we've internalized as our own. Beliefs that are part of the collective consciousness that permeates and pervades our every moment of existence. This race consciousness idea that we often don't even know is active in our lives. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we had a step-by-step guide on how to be in that creative flow, with all of the detours and the potholes and all of the obstacles clearly marked for us to avoid? Well, unfortunately, we can't follow in anyone else's footsteps. As the great Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." We can't follow anyone else's path. We have to make our own path and then leave a trail behind us. We have to make our own map to creativity. We simply can't follow anyone else's. Now, while there is no one way to find our path to creativity, having a roadmap can help us in the right direction. You know, with the advent of the GPS is now built into our phones and in our cars, we don't often use road maps anymore. We allow the voice of Siri or Alexa, or as I called my first GPS, Maggie, which was short for Magellan, to tell us which way to go. I don't know if you're like me or not, but I don't always follow their directions. My favorite form of vacation happens to be road trips. I love road trips. And my motto for every road trip is, there's always room for a U-turn. It used to be kind of funny to ignore the directions that my Magellan GPS gave me. I swear, there were times when Maggie had a tone in her voice when she would say to me over and over again many times, recalculating, recalculating, every time I didn't follow the steps that she told me to take. You know, there are many things that we can do to make our trip smoother, this road of creativity. One thing we can do is to be around people and things that inspire us. Seek out those things that intrigue you, those things that make you wonder, those things that spark a bit of joy in you just by simply gazing at them. I was recently on a working retreat in central Mexico, and I was so inspired by the ironwork that I saw on the windows and the doors. It was exquisite. The intricate curls and loops, and the way that so many varieties of loops and curls could happen in one window, in one door. It was just quite amazing. As many of you know, I draw as a meditative practice. I doodle, creating different patterns, and I draw mandalas that are circular, repetitive designs that often represent a spiritual idea. And what I found myself doing while I was in Mexico was taking pictures of the ironwork so that I could come back and recreate them in some form as doodles for my artwork. It was inspiring to be there. It was inspiring to see something different, inspiring to see the artisanship and the creativity that went into making these beautiful works of art that serve a purpose and a function in the daily lives of the people around them. You know, as fun as it is to follow a path seeking out inspiration, it's equally important that we avoid the roadblocks along the way. And what are some of these roadblocks? Well, I hate to admit it, but most of our roadblocks are the ones that we put up ourselves. They are the ideas we have about lack and limitation. They are the judgment that we have about what it is that we are creating. And most importantly, these roadblocks come from our fear. Now, this fear comes in many, many ways. It's our own fear that we're not good enough, that no one is going to like what we do, that we could somehow be ridiculed or judged by others for being inept, have no talent, or being foolish enough to think that we were good at anything. This fear is massive, and it is truly the biggest roadblock that we put up for ourselves. One of my favorite books on creativity is Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic. In this book, she speaks a lot about having the courage to be creative and about the fear that holds us back. My favorite description of hers is from a passage called The Road Trip, and I'd like to share that with you here. The road trip. Here's how I've learned to deal with my fear. I made a decision a long time ago that if I want creativity in my life, and I do, then I will have to make space for the fear too. Plenty of space. I decided that I would need to build an expansive enough interior life that my fear and my creativity could peacefully coexist, since it appeared that they would always be together. In fact, it seemed to me that my fear and my creativity are basically conjoined twins, as evidenced by the fact that creativity cannot take a single step forward without fear marching right alongside it. Fear and creativity shared a womb. They were born at the same time, and they still share some vital organs. This is why we have to be careful of how we handle our fear. Because I've noticed that when people try to kill off their fear, they often end up inadvertently murdering their creativity in the process. So I don't try to kill off my fear. I don't go to war with it. Instead, I make all the space for it, heaps of space. Every single day, I am making space for fear right in this moment. I allow my fear to live and breathe and stretch out its legs comfortably. It seems to me that the less I fight my fear, the less it fights back. If I can relax, fear relaxes too. In fact, I cordially invite fear to come along with me everywhere I go. I even have a welcoming speech I prepared for fear, which I deliver right before embarking on any new project or big adventure. It goes something like this. Dearest fear, creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you will be joining us, because you always do. I acknowledge that you believe you have an important job to do in my life, and that you take your job seriously. Apparently, your job is to induce complete panic whenever I'm about to do anything interesting. And, may I say, you are superb at your job. So by all means, keep doing your job, if you feel you must. But I will also keep doing my job on this road trip, which is to work hard and stay focused. And creativity will be doing its job, which is to remain stimulating and inspiring. There's plenty of room in the vehicle for all of us, so make yourself at home. But understand this. Creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. I recognize and respect that you are part of this family, and so I will never exclude you from our activities. But still, your suggestions will never be followed. You are allowed to have a seat. You are allowed to have a voice. But you are not allowed to have a vote. You are not allowed to touch the road maps. You are not allowed to suggest detours. You are not allowed to fiddle with the temperatures. Dude, you are not even allowed to touch the radio. But above all else, my dear old familiar friend, you are absolutely forbidden to drive. And then we head off together, me and creativity and fear, side by side, forever, advancing once more into the terrifying but marvelous terrain of unknown outcome. I just love the way that she expresses that. It is so succinct and yet so powerful to have this relationship that she has cultivated with her creativity and her fear, knowing that both of them are vital to her existence, to her expression. One is not going to happen without the other, but containing the fear, allowing it to be more of an impetus towards our creativity instead of a hindrance to it, is something I think we can all learn. You know, the thing is, we have to come to terms with our fear. Because as long as we're avoiding it, as long as we're expending too much of our creative energy in the pursuit of not feeling afraid, instead of allowing all of that dynamic force, that dynamic energy to bring forth something new within us, we will never be able to be in that creative flow. We have to embrace it and allow it to come along with us, and yet not control the ride. You know, there's a phrase that I've recently come to terms with. When I first heard it, I didn't like it. I thought it was just a saying of macho warrior type people. You know, the kind of person that never lets anything get them down, or the type of person who is dismissive of true concerns that other people may have, thinking them being weak or whatever, that they should not be feeling the way that they're feeling. But as I've experienced more and more of being in this creative flow, I realize how true it is for many aspects of our lives. And that simple phrase is this: feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Having the courage to move beyond our own self-imposed fears will allow us to break through any creative block that we may have ever experienced. You know, one of the best spiritual practices I've found for helping me clear away some of the roadblocks that have stopped me from being in the flow of creativity is through the practice of journaling, and specifically stream of consciousness journaling. In stream of consciousness journaling, you simply write down whatever comes to your mind. The key to stream of consciousness journaling is about writing it down without trying to edit it, without judging it, without getting caught up in it and dwelling on it. Stream of consciousness writing is about purging what is on your mind. It's like getting it out onto the paper so it doesn't clog up the process of being creative with it that's going on within our consciousness. I love the way that author Julia Cameron does this in her book and her program called The Artist's Way. Julia has a technique that she calls morning pages. And morning pages is simply stream of consciousness journaling for a minimum of 3 pages. She suggests that you do it first thing, before you even get out of bed. Just have your paper and pencil, whatever you want to write with, handy, and give yourself an opportunity to simply clear out all the nooks and crannies in your consciousness that may be filled with things that could potentially distract you or limit you in some way. It is a simple technique that requires no fancy equipment or hours and hours of training to learn how to do it properly. Just keep your pen or pencil and a notepad, something to write with, something to write on, next to your bed. And the moment you wake up, grab your pencil and paper and start writing whatever comes to your mind. You know, these things can be trivial. They can be things that are petty. They can be things that inspire you. This is just an opportunity to purge that all from your consciousness. You could be simply writing your to-do list for the day because these things are on your mind, and until you get them off your mind, then you can't move on to something else. Just get it down on paper. If you need to remember it later for some reason, you've always got it written right there. Julia Cameron says that morning pages are like taking a dustbuster to all of the nooks and crannies of your consciousness and sucking out all of the clutter that's still in there. We know that when we hold tight to something, when we refuse to let it go, we are blocking ourselves from the flow of receiving. This works with everything. It works with our money. It works with our relationships. It works with our creativity. If we are holding tight, if we are clenching onto something, there is no space for something new to come in. I can't receive more money if I've got my fist tight. I have to open it up. I have to release. I have to let it go. And it's the same thing that's happening in our consciousness. If we keep that stuff inside of our consciousness all the time, there's no space for the new to come in. Give yourself the experience of morning pages and see what's available. See what's ready to move through you. See what is wanting to come out of you. You may actually be surprised. This act of creativity is a phenomenal gift. It is what we are. It is our very nature. It is how we came to be, and it is how we show up in the world. Our creative expression is our unique way of allowing spirit to experience the world around us. It is a gift to ourselves. It is a gift to the world. It is a gift to the divine. It is what we are here for, allowing ourselves to create, allowing ourselves to express in a new and unique way, allowing ourselves to be that place through which God moves is why we're truly here. And it is one of the best gifts that we can give to ourselves and to give to the world. So I encourage you, take some time, try the morning pages, try stream of consciousness journaling at any time throughout the day. If you're stuck, you can't get past it, take a moment and do that. There are a few other things that you can do to interrupt the stagnant energy. You can go take a walk. You can get up and change rooms. You can do lots of different things. But find a technique that really works for you to allow you to clear those roadblocks. You've got your map ready. You've got everything set for it. You're ready to move. Let yourself be inspired and inspiring to others. Thank you. All right, let's just take this into prayer. Our form of prayer is called spiritual mind treatment, and it is a way that we systematically move through the process of recognizing the presence of the divine, knowing that it is in us and moving through us, stating affirmations of truth, giving thanks and letting it go. And so let's just do a little prayer here around creativity. So I just invite you to turn within. Allowing yourself to become centered and grounded in this moment. I simply know that there is only one thing happening here. One power, one presence, one dynamic creative energy that is bringing itself into expression as all life. It existed in the beginning before anything else. And it is through itself that everything was brought into existence. This love intelligence so beautifully and magnificently created everything, brought everything into alignment. Each form of creation occupying its own unique niche, its own space in the whole process. Because I know there's only one, I know that I am one with it. I know that that divine, dynamic, creative force brought me into an existence and is living through me right here and right now. And as I know this is true for me, I know this is true for all creation. I know that each one of us is that unique and perfect emanation of that creative love intelligence. And so knowing this truth, I speak my word. I know that each one of us is an opening for the magnificent flow of the divine to move through us. I know that each one of us is inherently creative, that we create in every single aspect of our life. We create through every choice we make. We create through every act that we participate in. Our lives, our creativity being demonstrated right here and right now. And I know that as we release any of the thoughts of limitation, lack, and fear, that we become a greater opening through which the divine can move through into expression. I know that releasing our fear, releasing our doubt, releasing our self-judgment, releasing any of the limitations or ideas of lack that we have about creativity allows us to enter into a greater flow on a more consistent basis. And I know that the entire world benefits from our willingness to say yes, for our willingness to be that place where the divine shows up. I just give great thanks for this knowing. I'm so grateful to know that this is the truth, to see it in action on a daily basis, to experience it within my own being, and to revel in it when I experience it through others. And so I release this word into the law, into that divine creative aspect of the one that knows no lack or limitation, that is not bound by any fear. I set it in motion by letting it go. And so it is. Amen.
Here at Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas, we are a mission and vision-driven community. We offer transformative educational opportunities, deep and meaningful moments of connection, uplifting Wednesday and Sunday services. We greatly appreciate your contributions that support the amazing work we're doing here in Southern Nevada. We have several easy ways you can contribute. We have text to give. Simply text the amount of your donation to our text to give number and you'll be prompted to enter your information. There's a link to our online donation page posted below this video where you can contribute by debit or credit card. And of course, you're always welcome to send a check to our office if that works better for you. All of your contributions go to support the great work that we're doing here in Greater Las Vegas community.
Truth is, love
As we end tonight, I'd like to let you know about some special events that are coming up in the next couple of months. As you know, we recently purchased a new building for our center. And we would love to have the input of our community as we are moving forward with creating the new Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. So we've created what we are calling Reimagining CSLGLV, a conversation series. Our first meeting will be held on Sunday, April 24th at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, online through our Zoom platform. The second round of Community Conversation Series will be held in person at one of our local libraries. We're still in the process of arranging that, but I anticipate it being sometime mid-May. We'll let you know as soon as we have the arrangements finalized for that. In addition to our Community Conversation Series, we're creating an online survey to get your feedback around some specific questions. The link for the survey will be coming out on one of our e-blasts in the next couple of weeks, so please look for that and take a few moments to complete the survey. You know, it truly is vital that your voice be heard, so please take these opportunities to share with us what it is you're wishing to see as the new Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. You are welcome to attend both community conversations and fill out the survey, or choose one of the conversations that you would like to participate in. But please make sure you fill out the survey. It's so important that we get the information that we're looking for to help us make informed decisions about what it is our community is wanting to birth in Greater Las Vegas here. You know, these are very exciting times, my friends, and I am so thrilled to be here with you doing this work. Together, we will build a thriving and vital community that is a powerful force of transformation here in Southern Nevada and beyond. It truly is noble work that we are doing, and we are so happy to be doing it together. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thanks.
The monthly publication, Science of Mind magazine, is a treasure to be read and contemplated. Along with in-depth articles, there is a day-to-day spiritual support to be gleaned from its daily guides. Licensed practitioner Lynn Frankenberger hosts Adventures in Faith every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Zoom, and you're invited to join in. This is a weekly group discussion that focuses on those daily guides and how to apply them. Check Facebook and our weekly newsletter for more details. CSL Greater Las Vegas brings you much of your favorite spiritual music every Friday at 7 p.m. with spiritual soundscapes. Enjoy performances from CSLGLV vocalists along with special guest singers. It's music for your soul. Subscribe to the CSLGLV YouTube channel to get a convenient link sent to you for each musical performance. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. This mission supports the all-inclusive vision of Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, in which we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation.